All right, ladies and gentlemen, Melissa McCarthy and Ben Falcone.
Well, thanks.
Hi, gang.
Hi there. Thanks for coming. It's been great.
So, the concept, the character of this movie, where did it come from? When did it come from? And how did it come from?
Your grammar is
Already,
perfect.
I'm intrigued by the questions. I did Michelle Darnell at the Groundlings Theater, it's a little improv theater in Los Angeles, about 15, 16 years ago. And it just was a character that kind of stuck with me, and I kind of couldn't get over her, and I weirdly kept thinking about her, and like 5 years later, I was still talking about her, and 7 years later, I was like, I think she's an orphan. And Ben was like, who am I, Michelle?
I would
think
like
Michelle
be freaking
was-
out. Like, what are you?
He's
Someone's
like, one
an
of our
orphan?
friends,
What do you mean?
we didn't know what happened. I was like, no, Michelle Darnell. He's like, so it's a fictitious person that you're getting upset about that you did 10 years ago. I'm like, yeah. So I think to keep me from losing my mind, we thought we have to find like a full story. I think I just wasn't finished with her. I really kind of loved her, and I wanted to give her like a full story.
And Steve Mallory, who you remember, he played. No, he doesn't.
Atlanta was a blur for me.
Oh, I have pictures. Don't worry.
He came to Melissa about 7 years ago,
Yeah.
and then Melissa and Steve did the outline for the movie, and then when the time was right, we were like, "What do you want to do next?" And it was this. Basically, I stole their outline and put my name on it.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah.
We do a lot of work, and Ben goes, I'll put my name on that.
What was it like working with Peter Dinklage? I heard he's difficult.
Difficult doesn't begin to describe it.
Okay, let's
constantly
go to this
referencing.
next. You guys want to talk about your writing process in terms of the films you have made together, how you start it, how you continue it, how long it takes for all the aspiring screenwriters out there?
We're a little fanatical about, we keep rewriting and rewriting, and when we finish a version that we love, we kind of immediately go back to page one and just kind of keep trying to tighten it and tighten it and tighten it. And we do it all through the writing or the filming process.
As you know.
Yeah. Which even at the end of each day, we rewrite the next day's work just to make sure, like, because we had such fantastic actors playing parts, and it's like, I think it's crazy to think that every day you shoot, your script doesn't get morphed and into something even better because you have people actually bringing it to life. So we're just kind of constantly changing, and then we'll get that down once, and then we immediately throw it away and start improvising things. So it's a strange thing of...
We work really hard on something that we use once.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys work really hard on these scripts, and then sometimes, not all actors, improvisation is a gift, and these two are just the head of the class on it. But not every actor is good at improv, and sometimes what I find, as somebody who is not so great at it, is you guys
Untrue.
give
Not true.
so much, thank you, you guys give so much encouragement and freedom to all the actors to improv, and you're so kind to all of us when it's not really working. How do you? I guess that was more on you, Ben. You were able to rein us in a bit more.
Well, you have to
You give us freedom, but you also maybe it's in the editing. I don't know.
Well,
how does that work?
You have to do, when you're improvising, you have to do the ones that don't work to get to the ones that do work. That's how I've always kind of thought of it. And then as long as you're somewhere close to the story, like, we didn't have anything that was like, oh, boy, I can't wait for this to be over. It was more like it wasn't part of the story or something, because it was all pretty funny. And then, then when you're editing, you see how far afield you can go in one place, and then you see how much you have to kind of shrink it down to get to, like, the next, to keep the momentum going.
It's the freedom in the form. You guys definitely have this form, but there's such freedom in it, and I feel like that's where the good stuff comes out of. As long as you have the template to follow, which all the great comedies always do. But it's such a new world of all these, a lot of comedies now. It's all, so much of it is improv, and I'm sort of, as being somebody who's new to it, it's great, but it's also pretty scary, in a good way,
In a good
challenging way. Yeah.
Is that the most?
I'm
is that the
pleasantly
most-
scary.
Is that
pleasantly
the
scary.
most improv you've done? Because it didn't seem like it was new to you.
Don't improv on Game of
Well, no.
Thrones. Hey, what's the deal with that dragon? What's his? Yeah, no. Melissa, I guess, do you want to talk about physical comedy and how you enjoy that, and how little you let your stunt double do?
Well,
What was her name?
It's the only time
Lucy,
we ever argue.
who's like the
actually.
most amazing bionic person on the planet. Yeah, I do have a love of, I don't know. I think the physicality in a character is I've never been able to separate them, and I don't know why I feel the need, like if somebody's gonna get thrown down the stairs, instead of going, "Ooh, that's a terrible idea," I'm like, I can do that. I can do that. I'd love to try it. And Ben's like, no, that's an awful idea. And I'm like,
We already have a stunt woman who named Lucy, who's the best, and she's an incredible professional, who I'm
Incredible.
already very worried about. And then Melissa's like, I think I'll just do it. And I'm like, well, what's your plan to like protect your head? I don't know. Like, I'll go down the stairs. Like,
it'll
nope.
probably be fine. I mean, I guess it means I'm an idiot is the real bottom line to that. But I want, when the audience is there, to be like, oh my God, there's no cut. There's no cut in that. Like, it's part of the movie magic. Like, I'd rather limp off stage and actually do it. Which, again, I think it circles back to I'm not very bright. I think that's what we've learned
But there's
tonight.
so much stuff in movies with these stunts that it's the insurance. They don't want you to do them, even though you could do them. You could trip and fall, and but they won't allow you to do the simplest things sometimes in movies. So that's, I guess, also what we're speaking to. Yeah.
Certain times you just get a no.
Right.
Like, I can do the top and bottom of a fall, but not the middle. And I'm always like, I got to get to the bottom somehow. Loop it through.
Should we show another clip?
Melissa wanted to do that. Very seriously, she
I
did.
thought I can hit a wall. I've hit a wall in my life.
But not to give away the movie magic, but she did not.
Yeah. I went up a certain distance, which was not very high, and then the fantastic Lucy came in and really does just say, like, when you say, like, how are we going to do this? She says, I'm going to hit the wall, and then I'm going to slide down it. And it's like, what's the secret? The secret is I'm going to hit the wall, and I'm going to slide down it. And that's why I truly think she's bionic.
That's what I've learned about the secret of stunts sort of is, which I always thought that, oh, well, what are we going to do? And it's like, no, I'm going to go hit that wall really hard. And I'm like, well, how are you going to be safe? And then, well, I've got some padding and the wall's not hard. And seems dicey to me. So I worry about the stunt people a lot.
Do you get pressure, not pressure, maybe that's the wrong word, from the studio or something, with a character like Michelle Darnell, who there's an easy way to look at her is that she's not very likable, who she is as a character. How did you approach that, or does it you just hope for the best?
I was really concerned about it because more so than the studio. I think the studio thought, she can just go do anything, and be mean to people and everything. And I was like, well, you have to kind of care about her so that you're rooting for her to get better. You know what I mean?
Without making her somehow suddenly, like, charming. Like, I
Right.
never worried about that. I was like, she can't alter from being...
No, there's always, in the Hollywood movies, there's always the soft spot of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sort of.
Well, that movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? John Candy is so sort
greatest.
of annoying, but he's so endearing. And I just think that is one of those examples of, like, something that I try to, like, touch to, that, like, he just does certain things that make you... Even it could be a look. It doesn't need to be like, I'm going to be nice now. It's just like... if you massage it right, you're going to care for that guy the whole way through. So that's how we try to kind of treat it.
So, do you guys want to talk about your co-stars that are on the poster? There's
I mean...
Those dogs.
Oh, you mean...
are there any children in the audience?
Is there anyone that I can't say something? Ricky Bobby
There's a baby,
and
but
Fury.
babies are cool with everything.
That's all right.
We had two Doberman Pinschers, those dogs on the poster.
That are, by the way, they're Renault Pete's character's dogs in the movie, which Pete from there are weird clips that don't show Pete. Like
we like to invite Pete to moderate a session and then not show clips with him in it.
I've been cut from the film. The
That's our
dogs are
movie.
in it.
Tonight, this is how we decided to tell him. They were
Brother and sister
Their
dogs.
brother, no, I think father and daughter.
Oh, that makes it even better.
Even better. And there were scenes in the movie where we're constantly being attacked by Pete's character's dogs. So we're chasing and supposed to be running, and they're attacking Glass, and Kristen Bell and I and Tyler Labine are all inside this like conference room, and the dogs are just supposed to be lunging and scratching at the glass. What was actually happening was they were having sex. Every single time. We could not get the dogs off of each other. So there's just hours of footage of us going, and it was literally just two dogs fully fornicating on the floor in front of us, and we had to keep pretending.
I just needed them to go down some stairs. That's all the dogs had to do. And they did not want to go down the stairs. They stopped on the stairs.
So in order to end this romance...
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
No, go ahead, because
That's too much?
No, I think it's wonderful.
Well, there, shall we say, one of the dogs had a handler.
Literally. It was
Literally a handler.
literally
And this handler
handled.
helped the dog with his pent-up behavior.
That's Hollywood, guys.
That's Hollywood.
That's
Like we were on a weird dog farm.
and
The
I
dog-
didn't think
the
it
dog
was
was
true.
milked.
Yes,
What?
milked.
Yeah.
They called it milking.
And then
It
they were...
was so upsetting. It was so upsetting. We were like, we need a minute. And then the dog came back out. He
With a
seemed
cigarette.
fine. I felt a lot of shame. I don't know why I was not part of it, but I still felt very unsettled.
I'm not sure it's legal, but it didn't happen for real. Probably shouldn't have talked about it.
Sure. Hypothetically, that happened.
Hypothetically, that might have happened.
They went into the back room, something happened.
The dogs weren't real.
Those dogs weren't real. Why did I bring up that story? You didn't talk about that on the talk shows this morning?
No, I'm saving it for Ellen.
Should we do the questions from the audience? I'm so good at this. I'm like Charlie Rose or
I
something.
love it.
I'm really sweaty.
Hi, Ben and Melissa. Now, if you got your movie is about a woman going to jail. So, if you guys were going to be a famous crime duo, what would your crime be? And I won't judge you if it's really bad. So go as creative and as awful as you want.
What would our crime be?
I like the thought of a kind of Bonnie and Clyde spree, just because it
But
sounds.
could we be in like one of
The
those
berets
little, like a
and the-
little but we could be like in a like a crop dusting plane, like we steal a very
Ooh.
small plane and then we go rob
We steal
places,
crops.
and
Maybe that's
maybe
where
we
we
steal
go.
people's crops.
We steal people's crops, and you can't catch us because we're in a plane.
We're in a crop duster.
And
See
we
ya,
got.
suckers.
I'm seeing me with like a long white scarf.
You've been dusted.
Ooh,
we've got a catchphrase.
Oh yeah, this
You've
is
been
great.
du-
I think
you
we
just
should-
got dusted.
We should do this.
But is it set in modern times, but you're still in a crop duster? But it's set now, so they can catch you very
It's
easily.
not determined. You'll be the farmer. Just a lot of aerial shots of you, like get off my land.
And just us being like followed by like 8 helicopters, we're totally gonna get caught. But we'll have fun while it lasts.
I'm gonna work up an outline for that and pitch you. I'm gonna pitch that story to you in about a month.
Questions from the audience?
I love all your movies. It was hard
Thanks.
to do all these kind of troll and backup and stuff.
No, I mean, yeah, but it's kind of the fun. That's kind of the fun of it. I like the challenge of seeing how much of that stuff I can do, and we're lucky enough to work with people that will really break it up into little pieces for me and kind of help you learn it. But I love all the action stuff. I think it really pairs well with comedy as long as it suits the character. I love to do it. I mean, I love to try to push myself to do stuff that I probably shouldn't.
comedy now is, you know, it's hard to take risks. Like, do you see challenges for comedy right now in this day and age?
Part of comedy is kind of like it's like dangerous or something, you know. So I think to start watering it down because like there's difficult situations in the world is just I think it's the wrong answer. I think you should just do things as well as you can, and you know, do the best job you can of like making sure that people are laughing, and then you should be okay. You know, that would be my answer.
I mean, I think sometimes there's a lot of things to worry about and be scared about and all these other things, and I think sometimes you have to punch holes in that stuff. If things get too important, they get scarier, and sometimes I just think, God, I hope people can go in and forget all their troubles for an hour and a half. And sometimes I think you have to do that. You have to kind of do the inappropriate or actually shine the light on something and maybe just put a little, I don't know.
Or have Melissa and Pete have a sword fight in the movie, which is what I did.
That's
because it's fun.
If in doubt,
when in doubt, fight with swords.
Dinklage.
I'm a writer, so I'm kind of curious. What type of scripts do you get coming your way that you're tired of?
It's amazing how something with a really simple but interesting structure, strong characters, whether it's comedy or drama, it grabs you, and if it grabs your attention, I think it's lovely. So I would say, you know, there's a million ways to go wrong with a script. I've done it so many times, and I continue to do so. But that to me seems the best way to go right? Something like that.
I mean, you got to write real people. You can make them eccentric, you can make them extreme, but they have to be real. They have to know why they're doing something.
Is that what you look for, Pete? Like in a character, like just something?
Yeah, I mean, originality. I know that's a very, but without it being aware that it's being original. A lot of scripts are trying to be very original, and they're so self-aware. I think we're living nowadays in a meta society, and we can't help ourselves in that. And I think a lot of it manifests a lot in scripts that I read. Like Charlie Kaufman, for example. He came into this world, and he wrote those movies. And since Charlie, people have tried to be like Charlie's movies. You know, they've sort of tried to follow that form, but it's not their own. It's Charlie's, and so sort of take your own path, write what's true to you and no one else, and then it'll be wholly original. That's what I look for.
Yeah, how dark do you think that are you willing to go going forward?
You know, I'm a character actor, so I grab for that. So to me, there's no difference in what I do when I'm doing a comedy or a drama. And I'm equally attracted to either, just story dependent. I've done more comedies lately, but you know, if you strung out the whole 9 million years of my life, I've probably done more dramatic stuff. Just 14 people on like Avenue A saw it.
Hi. So I'm a huge fan of all three of you. And Melissa, you said that you were you created the character like a while back, and you and Ben worked on it for the movie. Were there any like disagreements you had in modifying the character and changing the character at all?
We still haven't gotten over it.
Oh,
we're still fighting.
You're opening a real fresh wound.
No, it's no. She created the character, so my whole goal, you know, was to try to help her take something. I mean, for me to say Michelle Darnell talks like this or walks like that, I never even considered it.
It's an ebb and flow. It's like luckily, I mean, I think when you kind of see the same goal or have the same vision, I think it's really easy. And I think anyone who doesn't take people's advice of like, hey, maybe try this, or is this too much?
It has to be a collaboration. Like, why, if you're in a scene, and if Melissa and Pete are doing a scene, why on earth would I not listen to, like, if they're not feeling good about it in some way, like the one thing I probably can do is pick up that someone doesn't feel great about it, and then start to ask why and how can we fix it, because in a comedy particularly, everybody better be having kind of a fun time and feeling committed, or else it's really tricky to be funny.
Unless there's two dogs doing unspeakable things in front of Peter Dinklage when you've just asked him to come to Atlanta. That's a tougher one to get over.
It's not always the case, but working with these two, it is. It was the case, and it was incredible.
All right.
All right. Thank you, guys. That's it.
Thank you,
Thanks so
Pete.
much.
Appreciate
Alrighty,
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the concept, the character of this movie, where did it come from? When did it come from? And how did it come from?
Your grammar is
Already,
perfect.
I'm intrigued by the questions. I did Michelle Darnell at the Groundlings Theater, it's a little improv theater in Los Angeles, about 16 years ago. And it just was a character that kind of stuck with me, and I kind of couldn't get over it. Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah.
We do a lot of work, and Ben goes, I'll put my name on that.
What was it like working with Peter Dinklage? I heard he's difficult.
Difficult doesn't begin to describe it.
Okay, let's
constantly
go to this
referencing.
next. Do you guys want to talk about your writing process in terms of the films you have made together? All right, ladies and gentlemen, Melissa McCarthy and Ben Falcone.
Well, thanks.
Hi, gang.
Hi there. Thanks for coming. It's been great. I think I just wasn't finished with her. I really kind of loved her, and I wanted to give her like a full story.
And Steve Mallory, who you remember, he played. No, he doesn't.
Atlanta was a blur for me.
Oh, I have pictures. Don't worry.
He came to Melissa about 7 years ago,
Yeah.
and then Melissa and Steve did the outline for the movie, and then when the time was right, we were like, "What do you want to do next?" And it was this. Basically, I stole their outline and put my name
Over her, and I weirdly kept thinking about her, and like 5 years later, I was still talking about her, and 7 years later, I was like, I think she's an orphan. And Ben was like, who am I? Michelle.
I would
think
like
Michelle
be freaking
was-
out. Like, what are you?
He's
Someone's
like, one
an
of
orphan?
our friends.
What do you mean?
We didn't know what happened. I was like, no, Michelle Darnell. He's like, so it's a fictitious person that you're getting upset about that you did 10 years ago. I'm like, yeah. So I think to keep me from losing my mind, we thought we have to find like a full story.